The twin suns of the Vera system burned a golden hue over the distant planet of Nicera. From orbit, the sprawling human colony looked small against the endless deserts and jagged mountains below. Despite the planet's harsh terrain, the humans had carved out a thriving settlement of domed cities, wind turbines, and shining energy towers. To Princess Leora of the Galanthar Empire, it looked fragile. Leora stood on the bridge of her sleek, silver warship, the Eclipser, her tall figure straight and commanding. Her dark robes shimmered in the light of the nearby suns. Beside her, her daughter Princess Myra watched the planet below, arms folded, her green eyes sharp and curious. "Mother," Myra said softly, "are we really doing the right thing? Humans, they are nothing compared to our fleet. Why risk a diplomatic visit to a colony on the edge of their system?" Leora's eyes didn't leave the view. "Because, Myra, even small forces can surprise the proud. We cannot assume our strength alone will keep peace. Diplomacy is as important as war." Myra huffed, turning slightly. "I know, but I still don't trust them. They are too ordinary." "Ordinary? Myra, never underestimate ordinary beings," Leora said, her voice calm yet firm. "Sometimes the ordinary can show extraordinary courage when it matters most." Below them, the human colony was buzzing with activity. Ships shuttled between domes, and workers hurried along elevated walkways. The humans had no idea that an alien princess was about to arrive. And that was just how Leora wanted it. The Eclipser descended slowly, its engines quiet to avoid unnecessary attention. Leora had chosen a small landing platform at the edge of the colony. Here, the humans could not easily mobilize a large force if things went wrong, but neither would they be in immediate danger. As the ship's hull touched the landing pad with a soft hum, Leora straightened her posture and took a deep breath. She had done hundreds of diplomatic missions before, but this felt different. Humans, they were unpredictable. She had studied their history, their wars, and their inventions. They had survived impossible odds more than once, and now she would meet them face to face. When the ramp lowered, the air hissed, releasing the pressurized cabin. Leora and her entourage stepped out, her long robes swaying with each step. Behind her, Myra followed closely, scanning the surroundings. Waiting on the platform were the human leaders. Commander Elias, a tall man with broad shoulders and calm eyes, stepped forward. Behind him were several officers, each wearing uniforms of blue and silver. "Princess Leora," Elias said, bowing slightly, "welcome to Nicera." Leora inclined her head gracefully. "Commander Elias," she replied, her voice clear and steady. "I come in peace. I hope our visit will begin a dialogue for the benefit of both our peoples." Myra watched closely. She had seen her mother negotiate with kings, generals, and even warlords, but something about these humans felt different. Their expressions were open, unafraid, and yet cautious. The humans led the alien delegation into a large dome that served as the colony's council hall. Its walls were made of reinforced glass, giving a panoramic view of the desert beyond. Despite its simple construction, Myra noticed the clever energy fields that protected the structure from storms and heat. The humans were clever, she admitted begrudgingly. As discussions began, a sudden alert interrupted the meeting. The monitors flashed red and alarms echoed throughout the hall. "Report," Leora demanded. A human officer spoke quickly. "Princess, a meteor cluster is approaching the colony. Impact is expected in 10 minutes. Evacuation protocols are underway, but the orbital shields may not hold all fragments." Myra's eyes widened. 10 minutes, that's impossible." Elia's face was calm but tense. "We've handled meteor threats before, but this is larger than anything we anticipated. We need to act fast." Leora's mind raced. The Galanthar Empire had powerful ships capable of destroying celestial bodies, but they were too far to intervene immediately. She realized with a sting of unease that the humans had no fleet to rely on. It would be up to them, and she had only one choice: watch or act. She stepped closer to the human console, observing the screens. Humans were scrambling to calculate trajectories and reinforce shields. The engineers coordinated drones and energy beams to deflect the largest fragments. Myra whispered, "Mother, they're trying." "Yes," Leora said quietly, her lips tight, "and they may succeed. Or fail." She studied the humans, noting the intensity in their eyes, the rapid decision-making, and the calm under pressure. There was something admirable in it, something she had rarely seen in other species. The first fragment struck the outer shields with bright flashes. Sparks flew and the dome trembled. Some humans screamed while others moved with precision, following drills they had practiced countless times. Myra's heart pounded in her chest. She had never felt fear like this, and admiration too. "Prepare our fleet," Leora ordered. "We may need to assist, but only if necessary. I want to see how far these humans can go on their own." Elias nodded. "Understood." Time stretched. Minutes felt like hours. The humans worked tirelessly, risking their lives on fragile platforms and in exposed areas. Myra could not tear her eyes away. Even the youngest engineers, some no older than 15, coordinated drones to deflect debris. Leora observed silently, her mind turning over her past judgments. Perhaps humans were not weak. Perhaps their strength was not in numbers nor in firepower, but in their courage, ingenuity, and spirit. Suddenly, the largest fragment, a chunk larger than a small building, broke through the initial shield layers. It hurtled toward the central dome. Myra gasped. Elias shouted orders and humans ran to stabilize the energy fields, but it was clear they could not do it alone. Myra turned to her mother, fear in her eyes. "Mother, we have to—" Before Myra could finish, Leora did something unexpected. She stepped forward, raising her hand. Energy from the Eclipser's reactors flowed outward, forming a shield around the human dome. The massive fragment collided with the energy field, scattering into smaller, harmless pieces. The dome shook but remained intact. The humans froze. Myra's jaw dropped. Her mother had acted not to destroy but to protect. And yet she did not boast. She stepped back gracefully, her eyes studying the humans. Elias bowed deeply, a gesture of respect beyond protocol. "Princess, your actions saved countless lives. You have our gratitude." Myra could hardly speak. She had seen her mother perform miracles before, but never had she seen her kneel or humble herself in the presence of humans. Pride and power were Galanthar ways, yet here, her mother had chosen admiration and respect instead. The remaining fragments fell harmlessly, and the colony slowly resumed activity. Humans repaired damage, checked systems, and comforted each other. Myra could not stop looking at them, feeling something she had never felt, awe for a species she had once thought ordinary. Leora finally spoke, her voice calm, resonant. "Commander Elias, your people are brave. I have underestimated you. I will remember this." Elias nodded, still catching his breath. "We do what we must, Princess. That is the way of humanity." Myra's eyes met her mother's, full of questions and disbelief. Leora's gaze softened, and Myra saw a rare, human-like humility in the alien princess. She realized that her mother had seen what she could not ignore. Courage and honor do not belong to one species alone. The meeting continued, but the tone had shifted. Leora and Elias discussed diplomacy with a new sense of mutual respect. Myra, still shaken, silently vowed to watch closely. If humans could act so boldly when facing certain destruction, what might they accomplish in the galaxy? By the time the sun set over Nicera, the human colony was safe, the meteor threat averted. But in the minds of Leora and Myra, a new truth had taken root. Humans were not to be underestimated. They were clever, resourceful, and brave. And perhaps, just perhaps, they were more than ordinary. Myra stood by the observation window of the dome as night fell. The stars above were countless, the dark sky filled with potential. She whispered softly to herself, almost in awe, "They are extraordinary." And somewhere in her heart, she felt the first stirrings of a deep respect for the humans, for her mother, and for a future where both species might walk together, side by side. The morning sun rose over Nicera, casting long shadows across the repaired domes of the human colony. The night after the meteor strike had been quiet but tense. Humans moved with careful efficiency, checking systems, repairing shields, and tending to anyone injured. Princess Leora and her daughter Myra observed from the balcony of the Eclipser, silently taking in the scene. Myra was still shaken. "Mother, they really did it," she whispered. "They survived on their own, almost." Leora's eyes were fixed on the bustling colony below. "Almost," she said softly, "but what matters is that they did not give up. That is what defines them." "Not strength, not fleets, but courage," Myra frowned. "I have never seen anyone act like that. Even in the Galanthar Empire, people would panic in a situation like this." "Humans are different," Leora replied. "They are unpredictable. That unpredictability can become their greatest weapon." The humans were already preparing for a meeting in the Central Council Dome. Leora knew she had to witness their leadership firsthand. She wanted to see the humans at their most focused, their most determined. And so she and Myra descended from their ship to join them. Commander Elias greeted them at the entrance. "Princess, welcome back. I hope you slept well." Leora inclined her head. "Rest is not important. Observing is. I want to see how your people manage when the unexpected strikes." Inside the council hall, engineers and officers were crowded around holographic displays. Each projection showed meteor fragments, shield strength, and the damage sustained during the strike. "Even though the meteor is gone," Elias explained, "we are not safe. The orbit of Nicera passes through several meteor clusters every year. We need a long-term plan to protect the colony, especially if other civilizations notice our activity here." Myra glanced at the humans. She saw determination in their eyes, a drive she could not deny. They argued, debated, and solved problems with urgency. Leora quietly observed, noticing the way the humans worked together. They trusted each other, yet challenged each other's ideas openly, a trait that surprised her. Suddenly, alarms blared again. This time, the threat was internal. A solar flare had been detected from Nicera's nearby star, aimed directly at the colony. If not blocked, it could fry the power grids, leaving the entire settlement vulnerable. Leora stiffened. "A solar flare at this moment?" she said under her breath. Elia's calm demeanor remained. "We expected this might happen, but our systems can redirect some of the energy. We need volunteers to manage the external grid nodes manually. It's dangerous, but the only way." Myra's heart raced. She had expected her mother to act immediately, as Galanthar leaders usually would, but Leora did not move. She watched the humans, curious to see how they would respond. Then she saw it. Young engineers, some barely adults, climbed exposed walkways to manually adjust the energy nodes. Sparks flew, the metal structures groaning under stress, but the humans did not falter. "They are risking themselves," Myra whispered. "Why don't you intervene?" Leora shook her head slightly. "Watch, Myra, sometimes courage must be earned, not imposed." Minutes passed like hours. Sweat dripped from the humans' faces, yet they continued working, shouting instructions and offering encouragement to one another. Myra could hardly believe their tenacity. She had never seen anyone, alien or human, act with such bravery in the face of certain danger. One engineer slipped on a walkway, nearly falling into the canyon below. Another rushed to grab him, balancing on a thin beam. Myra gasped. Leora's expression softened, but she did not act. She watched as humans relied on their own skill, intelligence, and determination to save their own. The solar flare struck the outer shields of the colony with blinding light. Sparks and arcs of energy danced across the sky. The humans gritted their teeth, shouting to each other, and slowly, against the odds, redirected the energy safely. The lights in the dome flickered but remained steady. Myra felt her knees weaken. She had never witnessed such raw courage. Leora turned to her daughter, her eyes calm yet proud. "Do you see, Myra? This is what makes them strong, not their weapons, not their numbers, their will to act even when the odds are impossible." The humans cheered softly, tired but victorious. Commander Elias turned to the princess. "Princess Leora, they did it. The colony is safe." Leora inclined her head. "Yes, and it is because of them, not us." She paused, then added quietly, "I have underestimated your species. I see now that bravery is not defined by the power one wields, but by the choices one makes when faced with danger." Myra looked at her mother in disbelief. You are acknowledging humans, after everything?" Leora smiled faintly. "Acknowledging them is not the same as trusting blindly, but respecting them, that is essential. Courage deserves recognition, no matter the species." The day passed with aftershocks and repairs. Myra could not stop thinking about what she had seen. She followed the humans to the outer platforms, watching them work in teams, communicating without hesitation, improvising tools and energy shields on the spot. Their minds moved faster than most Galanthar leaders she had known. By late afternoon, the colony had returned to a semblance of normalcy. Leora summoned Elias and a few senior humans to the council dome. "We must discuss long-term cooperation," Leora said. "I have seen your people in action. They are capable beyond what my studies suggested. The Galanthar Empire respects strength, but strength alone does not win wars, nor does it earn allies. I see now that humans have the potential to do both." Elias nodded, hiding his surprise. "We only do what we must to survive, but thank you, Princess. Your presence, it has inspired some of our people as well." Leora's gaze softened. She turned to Myra, who was still silent, her eyes wide. "Do you understand now?" Leora asked. Do you see why I insisted on observing them firsthand? Myra nodded slowly. Yes, I never imagined humans could act like this. I misjudged them. And misjudgment can be dangerous, Leora replied. We cannot allow arrogance to blind us. That is the lesson here. The humans and aliens worked late into the evening. Leora and Myra observed quietly as humans repaired damage, shared rations with tired workers, and offered encouragement. Myra realized that these small acts, combined with courage in danger, made humans remarkable. Suddenly, another alarm sounded, not from the colony but from the orbit above. A rogue asteroid unseen until now was on a collision path with the colony. Myra gasped. Not again, Leora's expression hardened. This is no longer a test. We must act together. Commander Elias nodded. We are ready, Princess. Let us show you what humanity can truly do. The humans coordinated rapidly. They moved drones into orbit, created energy nets, and positioned shields at critical points. Leora noticed that even without Galanthar technology, humans thought creatively, turning every weakness into a strength. But the asteroid was massive, larger than anything they had faced. Its trajectory would destroy half the colony if it struck. The humans were brave, but they could not hold it alone. Myra looked at her mother, expecting her to intervene, but Leora hesitated, studying the humans' determination. Then came the moment of truth. The asteroid entered the upper atmosphere, glowing red-hot. Human drones collided with it, energy beams struck at precise angles, and the colony's shields strained. Myra's heart raced. She could see Commander Elias standing firm, directing humans in impossible coordination. Finally, at the last second, the asteroid's path shifted, just enough to miss the colony. The humans cheered, exhausted and battered, but victorious. Myra turned to her mother. Mother, they did it again. They survived. Leora's eyes glimmered with something Myra had never seen before, pride, awe, and respect. She stepped forward and looked at Commander Elias. Then slowly, deliberately, she did something that shocked everyone. She knelt, not in fear, not in submission, but in honor. The humans froze. Myra's eyes widened in disbelief. Her mother, the proud princess of the Galanthar Empire, had lowered herself before a human. You have my respect, Leora said, her voice steady. You have proven courage, ingenuity, and honor. And that is worth more than any fleet, any weapon, any empire. Myra's heart pounded. She had never imagined seeing this in her lifetime. The humans looked humbled, yet proud. Commander Elias slowly bowed his head in acknowledgement, understanding the depth of the gesture. That is the highest honor we could receive, Elias said softly. We will not forget it. Myra stepped forward, tears in her eyes. Mother, I understand now. Humans, they are extraordinary. Leora looked at her daughter, her face calm but fierce. Yes, Myra. Courage, respect, and humility, these are what make a species strong. And humans have all of these in abundance. That night, as the twin suns set and stars filled the sky, the humans and the alien princess shared a moment that would echo through history. It was a moment of mutual respect, of understanding, and the beginning of a bond that might one day unite the galaxy. And somewhere in the quiet, Myra whispered to herself, watching the humans repair their colony under starlight. They are not ordinary, they are heroes. The next morning, Nicera's skies were clear, and the dust from the recent meteor and solar flare had settled. The colony had recovered remarkably quickly, thanks to the humans' resourcefulness and relentless effort. Princess Leora and her daughter Myra stood atop the eclipser, looking down at the thriving settlement. Myra turned to her mother, her eyes still wide with admiration and disbelief. Mother, I still can't believe what you did yesterday. Kneeling before Commander Elias, that was incredible. Leora smiled softly. It was necessary, Myra. Courage deserves respect, and humans have shown it in abundance. My gesture was not weakness. It was acknowledgement of strength where it exists. Myra nodded slowly, absorbing the lesson. I understand now. Humans, they are remarkable, more than I ever imagined. Yes, Leora said, her eyes scanning the horizon. And it is time we build a future together, one that recognizes their potential and ours. With that, she summoned Commander Elias and the colony's council to a large dome prepared for diplomatic talks. The humans entered cautiously, still in awe of the Galanthar princess and the events of the previous day. Princess Leora, Elias began, bowing slightly. You honor us with your continued presence. What is it that you wish to discuss? Leora's voice was calm but commanding. Commander and leaders of Nicera, we have witnessed your courage and ingenuity. You have survived threats that would have crushed even the most powerful civilizations. It is clear that humans are more than survivors. They are pioneers, innovators, and allies worthy of respect. I propose a formal alliance between the Galanthar Empire and humanity. Myra's eyes widened. An alliance? After all she had seen, this was more than she had imagined. The humans murmured among themselves, unsure if this was real. Elias took a deep breath. Princess, an alliance is a serious matter. We are a young colony. We have no fleet to offer, no powerful technology compared to your empire. That is true, Leora acknowledged. But alliances are not built on power alone. They are built on trust, respect, and shared values. Humanity has shown all three. That is why I kneeled before you. That is why I am here to offer partnership. Myra felt a surge of pride. She had doubted humans once, but now she realized that their courage, ingenuity, and willingness to act for the greater good had earned them a place among the stars, alongside the Galanthar Empire. The discussions lasted hours. Leora and the humans worked through protocols, shared knowledge, and explored ways to cooperate on defense, research, and exploration. The humans were astounded by the openness of the princess, who treated them as equals rather than subjects. As the meeting continued, a messenger rushed in with urgent news. Another asteroid had been detected larger than the last on a trajectory that could threaten a nearby human settlement. Myra gasped. Not again, Elias straightened. We'll need to act immediately. But this time we have allies, Leora nodded. Yes, this is the perfect opportunity to solidify our partnership. The humans mobilized quickly. Drones and energy nets were prepared, while engineers coordinated with Galanthar technology provided by Leora's ship. The collaboration was seamless, humans and aliens working together, each learning from the other's expertise. Myra watched, amazed. Humans were not just brave, they were adaptable, learning the alien technology almost instinctively and applying it creatively. Leora observed with quiet pride, knowing that her decision to respect humanity had been correct. The asteroid approached rapidly. Its surface glowed red-hot, and debris broke off in smaller fragments. Human drones intercepted many, while Galanthar energy fields reinforced the colony's shields. Myra could feel the tension in the air. The stakes were higher than ever. One fragment broke through the initial defenses, heading directly toward a human worker on an exposed platform. Without hesitation, a young engineer risked everything to redirect it manually, saving her teammate. Myra's heart raced. The humans acted not out of fear or orders, but out of care and courage. Mother, Myra whispered, I've never seen anything like this. They are heroes. Leora's gaze softened. Yes, Myra, and heroes deserve recognition, not just from their own people, but from others who understand their value. The final moments approached. The largest fragment of the asteroid glowed like a molten sun. Humans coordinated with Galanthar energy grids, calculating angles, energy flows, and timing. The moment of truth had arrived. The fragment struck the reinforced shield with a deafening hum. Sparks flew, and the ground trembled beneath them. But together, human courage and Galanthar technology held it at bay, redirecting it safely into space. The colony had survived once again. Cheers erupted across the settlement. Humans embraced one another, exhausted but victorious. Myra turned to her mother, tears welling in her eyes. Leora, standing tall, allowed herself a faint smile of pride. Commander Elias, she said, stepping forward, I believe you have proven once again that humanity's courage is unparalleled. You and your people have earned not just survival, but the respect of an empire. Elias bowed deeply, his eyes filled with humility and gratitude. Princess, your respect is more than we could have ever imagined. We will honor it. Myra could hardly contain her emotions. The humans had survived impossible odds, adapted, and worked together with the aliens. They had earned not just admiration, but a place in the stars. As night fell over Nicera, Leora and her daughter stood together on the eclipser, looking down at the colony below. Lights twinkled across the domes, shining like stars on the planet's surface. Myra felt a sense of wonder she had never known. Mother, she whispered, do you think humans can really stand among the stars? Leora placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder. They already have, Myra. They have shown bravery, ingenuity, and heart. That is more than many civilizations ever achieve. And together, humans and Galanthar, we can accomplish far more than either of us could alone. Myra nodded slowly, understanding the lesson fully. Respect, courage, and humility, these were the true measures of strength, and humans had shown them all. In the coming weeks, the alliance between the Galanthar Empire and humanity was formalized. Humans shared knowledge of their technology and resourcefulness, while the Galanthar offered protection, guidance, and advanced insights into galactic affairs. Together, they created a network of communication, trade, and defense that would ensure the safety and prosperity of both species. Myra spent her days walking among the humans, learning their ways and observing their resilience. She saw engineers improvising solutions, children helping adults, and leaders making choices with bravery and care. Every day, she grew more certain that humanity's potential was limitless. Leora, meanwhile, continued to guide the partnership. She used her influence to ensure fair cooperation, while encouraging humans to take initiative and make decisions independently. Slowly but surely, the Galanthar began to see humans not as a young, fragile species, but as equal partners, heroes in their own right. One evening, as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, Myra found herself standing beside her mother on a quiet balcony. The stars above shimmered with possibility. "Mother," Myra said softly, "do you think humans will ever surprise the galaxy the way they surprised us?" Leora smiled, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "They already have, Myra, and mark my words, they will continue to do so. Courage and ingenuity do not fade. Humans will rise, and when they do, the galaxy will take notice." Myra took a deep breath, feeling hope and excitement stir within her. For the first time, she felt truly inspired, not just by her mother, but by an entire species she had once underestimated. In that quiet moment, she understood fully why Leora had knelt before Commander Elias. It was not submission nor weakness. It was a recognition of greatness where it existed. And for Myra, it was a lesson she would carry for the rest of her life. Strength is measured not by dominance, but by courage, ingenuity, and the willingness to act for the greater good. Below them, humans worked late into the night, repairing, building, and dreaming. And somewhere in the quiet hum of the colony, a new chapter began. A chapter where humans and aliens would face the galaxy together, side by side, learning from each other, growing stronger and inspiring one another. Princess Myra looked down at the colony, her eyes filled with awe. "They are extraordinary," she whispered, "and they have only just begun." Leora placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder, and together they watched the stars, knowing that this alliance would shape the future, not for one species, but for all who dared to dream, to act, and to rise with courage. And so, under the vast sky of Nicera, a new era began. Humans and aliens, united by respect, courage, and ingenuity, stepped forward into the stars, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them in the galaxy. The galaxy would remember this day, and humanity had earned its place among the stars.